So many noobs. Will matchmaking ever find true balance?
What is up, guys? This is Brian back once again, bringing you an updated version to my first bronze guide on there. Basically, same thing as last time. Just gonna go over some things to help you get through bronze and everything that I use myself. It's just tips on how to play the game, champions, stuff like that. The video you're seeing right now going along with this, that is not anything related. It's just a video I have going right now just so I can talk to you guys and help you understand bronze a lot better and everything. I know I've mentioned it plenty of times before and everything, especially on my stream. I was bronze 5, got out of it. Right now I'm in bronze I'm in silver 3, and I am on my way to silver 2 right now. Using the same methods I've always used on there. So I'm not going to go through builds, nothing like that. If you guys have any questions, you can leave comments, message me, add me on League, whatever. I'll answer any questions you guys want on there. I find it very helpful. I think I've done a really great job with everything. Um, I think I hold my lanes good. I win my lanes. But this guide is more to just help you focus on solo play more, I would say. I'm going to focus more around laning and stuff and tell you guys what to prioritize over team fights in a way. I know a lot of people are not going to like that. Some people might like that, whatever, but this is solo queue. Not every game everyone's going to play as a team. So, basically, what you want to do is getting ready for ranked and everything. You're in bronze, bronze 5, 1, whatever. This works. It really does help. I'm going to help you with bans, picks, stuff like that as well. Like I said, this is my preference, only mine. No one else. I didn't ask anybody else, nothing like that. This is just my preference. This is the way I like to go through bans and picks and stuff like that before ranked games that help me get more wins on there. Basically, what you want to start off with is practice your lanes before you get into rank. Practice top, jungle, practice mid, AD carry, support, everything. If you're a horrible jungler, it's time to learn the jungle. You never know when you're gonna get into solo queue, your last pick, and all of a sudden everyone takes everything but jungle, and you don't want to screw your team over that way. So in this guide, I'm gonna help you learn what are easy picks and what aren't great picks for you. Well, no, not really. I'm just gonna cover good picks, easy, safe champions to play in ranked, especially in bronze. Um, so you just want to make sure you practice all your lanes, get everything done and out of the way. Before you get into your first games, also I like to do warm up matches, just going in and just playing an ARAM game, whatever you like, Dominion, whatever, just something to get that first game out of the way on there for you. So what else are we looking at here? So I'm gonna go through the bans right now when you get into the game. If you're not first pick, usually the first person will ask the team, all right, preferred bans or whatever. If you're banning, these are the people I like to ban. Even now, I still kind of ban them. I have other champions that I ban right now in silver that I've been seeing a lot of, like Azir and Fizz and Callista. Those are some of the ones that I've seen a lot of in silver. And I tend to focus those. Shen is another one. But in bronze, you're going to see Nasus, Warwick, Udyr, Katarina, Tom Kench. Maybe I added him to the list because he can be annoying at times. And Cho'Gath, of course. Those are my preferred bans for bronze elo on there. If you're a solo queue player and you know you have first pick and you're an amazing Udyr jungler or Warwick or Katarina mid or Cho'Gath top mid, whatever, or Nasus top, then by all means play them on there. Like I said, this is just my preferred bans and stuff and picks. But it's everyone has their own preference. This guide's just more to just help you a little bit, just so you know, okay, in bronze, not a lot of people know how to deal with those certain champions. So it could work one way or another. Right now, excuse me, jeez. Sorry guys, I apologize for that. Alright, so getting back to it is top lane. These are my picks on there. Like I said, not going to go through builds, not going to cover builds, just basically going to give you a rundown, quick, easy of the champs that I think are really, really good for solo queue. All the ones I picked are basically to carry games or help carry a game. So for top lane, you're looking at Renekton, Garen, Jax, Fiora, and Riven. Those are my top picks for top lane on there. All of them are really strong. All of them have their own unique qualities on there, and it helps. I've seen a Renekton. I've carried a Renekton a game with Renekton, I should say. I've carried plenty of games with Garen, Jax, Fiora, Riven. They all have their qualities. Split pushing, team fights, everything. They all work really, really well. After that, you're looking at jungle, which is for preference wise, my preference. I have Elise, Shyvana, Rengar, and Vi. Those are really, really good champions to play in the jungle on there. Shyvana right now obviously is getting banned a lot, but she's really strong. Rengar is really, really good, and Vi is really good as well in bronze. Let's see here. So we got mid. So for mid lane, I have tons of champions that I love to play mid lane. But I'm going to go with the 4 easiest ones, especially in bronze, that you can easily carry with. Diana, Fizz, Syndra, and J4. Those are my preferences to mid and bronze, where you can easily carry games. AD carry. Miss Fortune, Jinx, Tristana, and Ashe. Those are my 4 picks for mid or for AD carry. You could take a mid lane if you want, but I don't know if your team would like that. All right, so support now. It was a little tricky trying to decide on these. I know Thresh is a little bit trickier to play, but he's a really strong support. Leona is also another one. I want to say she's pretty easy to learn, and she's really strong as well. Blitzcrank is the third support that I picked on there, which is really good because not a lot of people know how to deal with the whole grab situation when he pulls you in to a team or to his bot lane or whatever. So those 3 are really good support picks on there. Now that we covered that, I'm going to go into the summoner skills that you guys want to focus on. Well, not, I shouldn't say that. That already came out wrong. Not focus on, but these are the summoner skills you should take, the important ones. Obviously, flash on everybody on there. For top lane players, it annoyed me so much when I was climbing out of bronze how no top laner I ever had ever took teleport. It was just so annoying because it's like, all right, well, I'm mid lane. What do? I adjusted to it. I started running flash teleport mid lane. Why? Because it really actually helped, and I won a lot of games like that because I was easily able to counter gank a lane and help my other lanes. That's just the way I play. You don't have to do that. You can just pressure your lane like crazy and teleport back to your lane and continue pressuring your lane. That's going to help a lot too on there. So teleport flash, definitely a must for top lane. Depending, say you got a Singe or a Olaf top lane or whatever, obviously you want to take teleport ghost. It's really, really going to help on there. Mid lane or jungle, obviously smite. You can't jungle without smite. Well, you could, but you won't be able to get any benefit off of it without having a smite. I like to take exhaust now as a jungler. I don't take flash. I take exhaust because it helps me with more. It adds a lot more gank potential because when you come into lane, you can exhaust them right away. You can exhaust them after they flash, anything like that. You can counter jungle with it as well, giving you better one-on-ones. As long as their team obviously doesn't rotate to you. So aside from that, you're looking at mid lane. It varies. I still love to take teleport flash mid lane, but Ignite and Flash is really good, especially if you're trying to be more aggressive in mid lane on there. AD carry, you're always going to have Flash, heal, barrier. It just really depends on the player themselves. On there, I prefer Ignite over everything, but I like to have heal for just that extra maybe that you get caught off guard. As a support player, every time I play support, I always go Ignite Flash. I don't use Exhaust anymore as a support. I use Ignite to help kind of eliminate their heal on there, or pots, either way. Alright, so now that that's basically covered, if you guys have any more questions about that, like I said, just leave a comment, send me a message, add me on League, whatever. And I'll respond. I'll give you my advice or my tips or things that I do on there, and hopefully it helps. So right now we're gonna go. So now you're in the game and everything's going. You're in your laning phase. You want to focus on the main thing early game, CS. I am horrible at CS. I am really, really bad at CSing because I tend to like to play aggressive, which is really, really bad. Doesn't matter who I get. I could get a Kali. I'm going to play super aggressive with a Kali. Diana, Fizz, Syndra, J4, Rengar, whoever. Trust, yes, Rengar mid. Yes, I do. I think I've only lost one game so far with Rengar mid. But it depends on your champion, depends on poke, depends on a lot of different things. If you're getting camp mid, whatever. But you want to try to last hit as best you can the minions, so you can have good CS, stay up, and everything. You could fall behind. You can easily get ahead depending if you can outpoke your lane opponent on there. A thing I suggest is learning how to freeze a lane. That's really, really good. There's tons of videos on YouTube that tell you what freezing is and how to freeze a lane, and it really does come in handy, especially if you're falling behind. Usually a decent player, if you're facing a decent player, they're going to know how to break that freeze so you don't get that free farm CS and everything on there. So one of your main focus is CSing in your lane early game. Next thing you want to focus on in your lane is wards. Buy wards, people. I hate when people don't ward their lanes and then all they do is sit there in team chat flaming each other why they're not getting help, and this person's been in my lane 100 times. Oh well. I've had bot lane, top lane, and jungler mid lane for a long time in a lot of my games because of how I play and how aggressive I am and how far I'm pushed up, stuff like that. But I survived. Why? Because I ward. You need to have wards up, guys. You can't win the game without wards. You have to have them there. They are a priority. They give you a lot of vision in places you won't normally have vision on there, obviously, because it's a ward. But focus wards, guys. Come on, it's not that hard. Doesn't cost a whole lot in game. So just try to do that. Find spots. I have a lot of areas that I like to ward that are not normal areas, I should say, that you would ward. But any advice I can give you guys, just ask me. I'll answer as best I can. And like I said, this is just my preference of how I play and what really does help me in game on there, and champs and everything wise on there. All right. The next phase that I've seen a lot of people argue about in ranked, in normals, and everything is roaming. When to roam versus when not to roam on there. And this is a perfect spot. This is when you roam. In the video that I'm playing right now, I roamed when my lane was pushed and I was ahead. I missed that ult completely, but their bot lane was already pushed far enough to where if I roamed, we could easily get kills on there. I did a horrible job in that, but that's when you roam. If you roam mid lane, the obvious lane you're normally gonna gank is going to be bot lane. Why? Because mid and bot lane are really important for getting ahead. Your mid and AD carry are very important because that's your damage. Well, top lane depending on the champion as well. They definitely are. But you want to roam when you're ahead. When your lane is pushed completely onto their turret where their mid laner has to stay there and defend, where he cannot do anything. And if you roam, you need to either commit to it or back off immediately. Don't sit there and camp. Don't sit there in the bush. Don't just waste time. You have to know if you're going to go all in or if you're just going to scare them back on there. If bot lane tells you, hey, their AD carry and their support have no flash, they burn their summoners, and your jungler's top lane, and you have your mid lane pushed, perfect time to gank them. Perfect time to roam down. Even if they have it warded, go all the way into their lane. Like all the way in. Just all in. Don't tower dive though. Do not tower dive. Just go in, scare them off. If you get damage, if you get kills, awesome. If you don't, oh well. Hey, at least you put that pressure on them where they have to back, and your guys can actually farm and get ahead a little bit in CS, depending if they're behind or whatever. So that's roam versus non-roaming. So the non-roaming side of it, if you're not going to roam and your enemy or your opponent roams, you need to pressure that lane immediately. Like right as he's out. Once you lose vision is usually what I go by. Once I lose vision of my mid laner, I push my lane immediately to the turret and I start attacking the turret. Why? Because if he's roaming and waiting bot, he's going to see that and his team's going to start flaming him and be like, hey, you need to get back to your lane. Okay, and that's even so he lost in CS, and not only that, I could possibly take his turret or more. I could get CS, take his turret, then probably gank bot and then get kills bot lane. It's gonna have so many different outcomes on there. If you're pushing turret, putting pressure on it, you know for a fact you cannot take the turret, but he's rotating back and you have no vision on their jungler, you need to slowly start backing off, make sure that you get out and everything in time. If their jungler and your mid laner are, and I'm using mid lane just as an example, top lane's the exact same way too. So if they're roaming and they're coming from bot lane back up to mid lane, you're not going to run straight down the middle of your lane. Rotate a little bit upwards, like go through the top side of mid lane. That because if you go walking straight through the middle, they can easily get you. You might have to burn a flash, whatever. It just depends. But you want to make sure you have a lot more map awareness of how to get away too. That's really important when you're in the laning phase on there. Top lane, same thing. If your laner leaves, it's your choice to either teleport to the team fight. If you know your team can get away and you can put a lot of pressure on their top turret, do it. Just take their top turret. Because now they're going to lose out on a gank. If they didn't get kills, they lost out big time. If they get a little pressure, oh well, so be it. But you, as a top laner, you have to know, when do I go in? When do I not go in? So it's just all varies on there. But then also, if they teleport down, get nothing out of it, you take a turret, you're up teleport now. You have teleport. So you have a team advantage now. So if your team decides to fight bot lane, 4v4, you can teleport into that and turn it into a 5v4. Their top laner's top lane. He has to walk all the way down. Well, obviously, within that 5 minutes that it's on cooldown for it. So be aware of that, guys. Outside of that, you're going to be looking at the non-laning phase, which is pretty much that, just non-laning. You're not in your lane anymore. You're roaming. You've already taken your tower, stuff like that. Only time I ever do that is when I know, what's the best way to explain it? The only time I ever start roaming and not pressuring my lane is when I know I need to assist my team a little bit more. If my bot lane's pretty much going even with their bot lane, and if I roam, I can easily get them kills and stuff, I'm gonna do that because it'll help them on there, whether they get kills, whether they get CS, something like that. I'm gonna be assisting them. Same thing. I might rotate top lane. I might get easy kills top lane on there. So it all varies. So when you roam, you need to know, is it beneficial to my team for me to roam and help them, or is it more beneficial for me to keep pressure on my lane and have them all come to me? If you do that, that helps your team a lot more because now, say you're top lane and you push, you're going to their tier 2 turret on there. And you just keep pressing it, pushing it, getting damage onto it and everything. Their top laner obviously is going to respond to it, or they should at least. The jungler's going to rotate to it, and more than likely the support or mid laner will rotate to you on there. So if it's a mid laner that rotates to you with their jungler and their top laner to respond to a top lane push on there, your mid laner now has free farm. He has free he's free of worries about getting ganked by the jungler because they're all top lane on there. That doesn't mean he can just stay pushed as far as he can. It's more, all right, I'm gonna push a little bit, now I need a back. Other players have to know too. You have to ping guys. So if you're top lane and you notice, all right, I pushed, all three of them were top, now they're gone, you need to ping immediately. Hey, get out of there. You need to back up and everything, especially if you have no vision. So it's more just map awareness. Once you lose sight of them, you need to ping immediately. Ping. Hey, I have no vision on this person. Whether it's like champion missing or sending a care message to bot lane or mid or top or whatever, saying, hey, this guy's gone. Be careful. So just knowing that. Going into the next part of it is knowing when to fight. That's a big thing. You have to know when to fight and when not to fight. A good example of when to fight is if your teams are even, you have really good engage on them, and if it's more of a like a Baron would probably be the best thing. I would say that's when I would probably tell my team we need to fight this so they don't get Baron. If they're ahead, it depends. If they're ahead by 5,000 gold, they have a bunch of items. Their 80 carry is 7-0, and their mid laner is 3-0, and everyone's just had a rough game. Depending on the engage, I would probably engage on it because it's one of those situations where it's like if they get Baron, could they win? Could they end immediately? They probably will. So it's one of those last minute things where it's like, all right, we have to wait for the perfect moment to engage. That would be a win to fight moment. But you want to also let them take that extra damage from Baron on there. Obviously, don't wait till Baron's down to 2,000 health because pretty much they're gonna probably end up getting it on there. You want to make sure it gets to about 3/4 to half. When Baron's there, they've already taken enough damage from it. Hopefully, you never. Like I said, it's always different. They might not have taken any damage, but it all depends on the engage too. You want to roam as a team. Never just roam start separately. The only person who needs to split push is your top laner. That is the only person. Why? Because he has teleport. Your top laner is the only person who split pushes. Unless you get ahead and you have like a Tristana, you can split push with that on there. If you have a 1-3-1 comp, which is two people that can split push, your 3 people need to be mid while the other 2 are top and bot lane, because it spreads out their team just the exact same way. And most enemy teams don't know how to respond to that, so what's going to happen is they're going to end up sending 3 people bot or 2 people bot or 2 people top to respond to everything. So it varies on there. So depending on your team comps and stuff like that, which are a little bit more higher elo obviously, or rank 5s, whatever. You hardly ever see that in bronze, but you have people that pick Tryndamere and a Master Yi on the same team. That's basically a 1-3-1 comp, because they can actually split push while your other three can just run down mid or defend mid, maybe on there. And if you guys do decide to start team fighting on there, make sure as an AD carry in mid, you stay in the back line. You stay behind your front line tanks on there. And make sure you try to get as much damage to the closest target to you. If you're an assassin and you can jump on their back line and get out safely, awesome. If you're a Zed player, awesome. Fizz, J4 could even get to the back line, Diana, that's awesome. If you can get to their AD carry or their mid laner and take them out, that's great. That's exactly what you want to do on there. Say you catch their tank. Well, obviously you're going to all in the tank and try to get them out of the way, because then that's their front line. Their front line's gone, so you can easily dive their back line for it. So, let's see. Making sure you guys don't get right in a team fight on there. I've already kind of explained that, but everyone knows that on there. Another thing, which is what everyone should already know, and I don't know why I'm discussing it, but I've seen a lot of issues with it in game and everything. Objectives. The most important objectives in the game is turrets and inhibs. Those are the most important things. If you can push your lane down in 20 minutes and take the first inhib by 25 minutes, fantastic. That's amazing. If you can take 2 turrets within 20 minutes on there and your lane solo on there, that's awesome as well, because that's going to give you more map control. It's going to let you roam a lot more on there. It's going to put a lot of pressure on their team to rotate to just that single lane, defend it or push it, which gives your other lanes an advantage on there. So if I was to push mid to tier 2, more than likely the jungler, mid lane, or mid lane and support are going to stay mid to counter push it on there. Because if the mid lane pushes and he pushes back to where his original turret was, I can easily just go all in on him if he stayed there alone. If he's there with support, that gives bot lane free lane pretty much. If the jungler's there, it gives the other lanes that safety, which they don't have to worry about ganks, because they see, oh, hey, never mind, the jungler is mid lane. We can push bot lane. We can all in bot lane. We can whatever. So that's some of the things that you want to focus on is turrets. Always keep pressure on your lane. Keep pressure on it unless you guys are team fighting, unless you guys are focusing dragon or gonna focus baron, stuff like that, which if you have ward coverage and you have the advantages and you have the proper lanes pushed for baron and dragon, that's perfect. That's definitely what you want to do. Another thing in that same aspect is baron itself. Baron can help you take turrets, inhibs, everything. So he is a priority at times. You have to know when to baron and when not to baron. A 20-minute baron is pretty much when you take out 2 to 3 members of the team on there. You typically at around 20 minutes, I can't say not everyone has done it, but some people have. Some you might have taken out 2 of their members even. So say you eliminate 2. Say you take out their mid lane and support. All right, that's their AP damage gone, maybe if it's AP champion or even AD champs, and their tanky support or Soraka support or whatever, Sona. That is a free baron, but it also depends on your team. Does your team have enough health to survive baron? Does your team have enough damage to take baron pretty quick on there? So it all varies with that on there. So if your team can get a 20-minute baron, awesome. If you can't, don't rush it. Don't try to force the baron when you know you can't on there. Versus a later Baron, same thing. The later Barons, you want to make sure that you guys don't try to take Baron when all 5 of their team are up. Unless you guys know you can win the team fight, I probably wouldn't risk a Baron unless at least one of their members is down. Mainly their jungler. If their jungler is down and it's 30 minutes into the game and you guys have items, you guys have that 5-man team versus their jungler just going down, as long as everyone's rotated to mid or top on there, you want to make sure that you guys can take the Baron pretty quick on there still. Obviously, you don't want to group up all in the same little spot because it'll make it easy to get picked off, especially if they have, like, say, a Sejuani jungle or a Azir or whatever. They're going to one-hit that spot because 4 of you guys are standing there, or Orianna throws her ball and ults, gets a 4-man ult, 5-man ult, whatever on there. So, and you want to always make sure you have that slight advantage going into any fight like that with dragon or Baron. Either way, you want to make sure you have that advantage. And the same thing goes with dragon. I should have brought that up, which I will now. One dragon isn't horrible. So, am I gonna risk losing a team fight over one dragon? No. If they're at 3 dragons, yes. Once they hit, if I'm not contesting the 3rd dragon, I'm gonna contest the 4th and 5th every single time. Because you don't want that team to get ahead like that on there. But if you guys can get the 1st dragon, if you guys can get the 2nd one, awesome. If you guys can continuously get him, if your jungler knows what he's doing and he can get the dragons and everything, awesome. If you know the enemy, if you're at 4 dragons and you know the enemy team just got their 1st one, am I going to force a team fight there? You could, because if you have 4 dragons, you're pretty much ahead. You could easily force a fight at dragon and everything, get ahead, get an ace, anything like that, and end the game. So it all varies. It all varies with certain things on there. So, like I said, this is just a basic guide. I didn't cover rotations, didn't cover a whole lot of other things on there. I think this video just gave me another one, which I should have probably talked about in the laning phase of it. So I'm just going to add this as the closing side of it. Actually, there's another thing I just thought of too. Alright, so in ranked games, don't chase people. Don't chase. If they get across into their jungle or whatever, don't chase into there. Unless you know that their whole team's dead and it's the last person and you can probably chase them all the way to their wall or whatever, or their base, go ahead. If you want to waste your time, go ahead. If you know you can't get the kill but you're trying to get that last hit in or whatever, go ahead. It's your call on there. But if you die, don't flame anybody else. It's your fault for chasing on there. Don't, like, that's just the thing. I see it a lot. I have done it plenty of times in ranked, and I always kind of screw myself over because I either get the kill and die, and I have that 40-second death timer, and it really affects my team, or I die later in the game, and now I have a 60-second timer, which screws me over all around, and we lost type thing. You want to just make sure, guys, don't chase, don't do anything stupid like that. Just let them go. If they got away. Now you can pressure your lane as a group or by yourself, whatever. When you take out a couple of people, pressure a lane. Always focus turrets. Take the turrets down. If you're getting kills bot lane, you guys just want to team deathmatch the whole time on there, you're not going to get anywhere because all you're doing is fighting, and then you're going to buy items, get back to lane, repeat the process again. You're not getting anywhere. Where their team could actually rotate to a different lane, push a lane, get turrets, stuff like that on there. Last part that I want to say is, guys, when you're in the game, disable your all chat. Don't chat. Don't do anything like that, guys. Just focus on the game. Focus on the game. That's all you gotta do. That's how you're gonna win games, guys. Alright, well, video's going to end here, and I think I'm going to end it here on that note. And thanks for watching, guys.